Welcome. I'm Julie Gillis. I'm with the Rogue Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, affectionately known as RVUUF. We welcome you to our very new, very improvised and put together online service due to the spread of coronavirus. We want to keep our congregants safe and healthy, engage in social distancing so that we can flatten the curve of this disease. But we welcome you here. We hope you grab a cup of coffee and get cozy on your couch or your favorite chair. I may look at a script from time to time, and you may hear a dog rumble around. It's not clear, but just hang with us. The Unitarian Universalist Soul Matters theme is wisdom, and we'll be speaking about wisdom today. Reverend Sean will be doing a sharing later in the service. If you're curious about getting involved, you can go to our website and you can email Dawn Nightshade, our administrative associate, who will make sure to talk to Jackie Rosen about signing you up for a name tag and get you on the schedule for our membership class. We want you to be safe and to create physical distance between you so that you don't spread any potential viruses that are happening right now. But we want to keep community first in our hearts, and that's why we're doing the service the way we are today. We at RVUUF remind ourselves that we gather on the lands that were the traditional home of the Takelma, Shasta, and Legatwa people, as well as others who were brought here against their will. The people indigenous to this land are part of the communities and live with the ongoing consequences of colonization and conquest and oppression. We stop for a moment to acknowledge this and to express our commitment and solidarity to work for justice for all people who have been harmed by systems and partners of dehumanization and oppression.
Live then, and be happy, beloved children of my heart, and never forget that until the day God will deign to reveal the future, all human wisdom is contained in these two words: wait and hope. Alexandre Dumas, French-Haitian author and playwright.
Maybe we're just one of a million tiny galaxies hurtling on towards some unrevealed destiny. Maybe we're somebody's unfinished symphony. Maybe we're the defenders of the indefensible, just trying to make some sense of the incomprehensible. And what if we are? What if we are stars? Maybe we're the victims of reincarnation, and maybe we're the phantoms of manifestation, and maybe we're just here to fix our mistakes again. Maybe we're planets like Venus and Saturn, surrounded by gases and protons and atoms. And what if we are? What if we are only stars? Maybe this world is just thinner than it seems. Maybe we're all partners in the same lucid dream. Yeah, well, maybe we're vapors. maybe we're just steam. Maybe we're creatures of habit and malice, and pale in the light of aurora borealis. And what if we are? What if we are only stars? Only stars in the dark, just a spark. Maybe we're just lucky and blessed to bear witness to the flashing of this meteor, the tail of this comet. And maybe we're cursed, maybe we're fortunate. Maybe we just go on our milky white way, and maybe we get to stay. What if we are? What if we are stars? Only stars.
Our community knows no boundaries. We are not confined by the physical limits of walls, or for that matter, of what often restricts us, holds us back. We are freer than we know when we release ourselves and each other from expectations of what is needed for true community. We are here together in space, and I light this chalice, a beacon of this community, holding us all together, here, now. Harmony doesn't come merely through tolerance. You don't need to tolerate people from other cultural backgrounds. It's time you start loving them. Toleration may make you a decent person, but it's love that makes you a true human being.
Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom. Peace, salam, shalom.
Hi friends, I know you all like the story, so I have a story for you today. It's called The Allegory of the Long Spoons. And it's so old that nobody even knows where it came from. No one remembers. But it's still a wisdom story. And it's a story about wisdom together, not wisdom all by yourself. So it's particularly good for what's happening around us today. It's a story of a person who spent their whole life looking for God so they can ask God one question. We pick up the story right as they've not only found the giant mansion where God lives, they're just getting to go into the room and ask their question. They walk in, and they say, God, I would like to know what heaven and hell are like. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we don't talk about heaven and hell very much. A lot of us don't even believe in them. But we do know about suffering, and we do know about joy. And if you think about it, they're not all that different. So, the person has just asked God, what are heaven and hell like? God says, follow me. And they walk through the mansion that has so many rooms you can't even count them. And in the very back, there are 2 doors. God opens the first door. And in the middle of the room is a round table, giant round table with an even bigger pot in the center of it, full of vegetable stew. Vegetable stew that smells so delicious that it makes everybody's mouth water, even God's. But the people sitting at the table, sitting around the giant pot of stew, look skinny, thin, and sad, and maybe even starving. They are holding spoons in their hands, spoons with very long handles so that they can reach the pot in the middle of the table. But when they try to bring the spoon back to their mouth, they can't because the spoons are longer than their arms. So they can't get the end of the spoon back to their mouth. Wow. The person who spent their whole life looking for God to ask this question shivered at the sight of their misery and suffering. God looked at them and said, you have seen hell. Well, the person said, I want to see heaven. So God opened the second door. But behind the second door, the room looked exactly the same. There was a large round table with an even bigger pot of vegetable stew that made everyone's mouth water. The people around the table had the same long-handled spoons. But they were well nourished. And not only that, they were joyful. And the room was full of laughter and talking and singing and smiles. The person who looked their whole life for God to ask their question said, I don't understand. God smiled. It's simple. Love only requires one skill. These people learned early on to share and to feed one another. They are happy and joyful, not just healthy and well-nourished, because they have learned to take care of each other. It seems like right now, when we have to be physically far apart for a little while to keep each other safe, the story of the long spoons makes a lot of sense. So thank you for listening, and take care of each other.
She wanted to know if I understood how important the event was. And I looked at my hands, palm up for a second. I thought about the saliva pooling beneath my bottom teeth. Droplet transmission. And rulers, 3 feet, 6 feet. 6 is the radius of transmission. I want to be the number of feet away that keeps us alive. As many of us as possible. Last week, I stood in the doorway and squirted people's hands with sanitizers as they dispersed, reflections of the divine and vectors, pandemic sacrament. Next week, all the sanitizer may be gone. Your friends getting treated in a hospital hallway, doctors wearing diapers, collapsing, sometimes dying. When I ask you to stay home to stop the social spread of COVID-19. I know that you are strong and beautiful and brave. I know you have taught yourself to understand that love is action. But today, beloved, today love is an inaction of stopping, of staying, of holding not hands but hearts, of holding the space between us, not only as a buffer, but also as holy. There is so much we don't know about the tiny parasite taking over cells, reproducing at an alarmingly rapid rate. I know more about you, that your insistence on business as usual may be tinged with other things, but is mostly dedication. You must now dedicate yourself to the survival of this community in the painstaking way of an artist painting on a grain of rice. I do know how important your life is, thrown together with ours. We are a fragile masterpiece. The vulnerable age was lowered to 50 yesterday. Please, stay home.
Wait and hope. When I read Alexandre Dumas's quote saying that all human wisdom can be summed up in 2 words, wait and hope, I didn't know how much I would need them. You may be able to tell by the circles under my eyes that the current situation has kept me spinning. On Tuesday, I sent you an email saying we'd be having services on Sunday with some modifications. No hand-holding, no hymnals, no offering baskets, and no coffee hour. Less than 24 hours later, I canceled in-person services altogether. And I'm not the only one who did so. Almost every UU congregation is ending in-person services this week or next. At first, I got some resistance. But within just a few hours, people began to express relief and gratitude. The wisest course of action right now is for all of us to stay at home as much as possible, which is not easy. But it will make this virus take its time getting from person to person. If we're lucky and we started these measures early enough, we can save lives by flattening the curve, allowing more time between cases so that our health professionals have a better chance to provide treatment. And in this time, when we're all still thinking it can't be as bad as they say, even while we grudgingly take the advice to stay home, I keep thinking about Dumas's definition of wisdom: wait and hope. It seems to me that he was trying to describe a balance, a dynamic tension between caution and optimism, or patience and resolve. It's the exact balance I've been trying to find in both my personal and professional life. Like many of you, I have children and grandchildren who are far away. My partner, Reverend Teresa, is in Oakland and is likely to need to stay there until this threat passes, however long that is. Long-awaited events and celebrations have been canceled or postponed. I feel shocked and sad and a little anxious. None of us wants to experience or witness suffering, especially suffering like we're seeing in the news. Some people are panicking, and others are playing at being too cool for all that. Some are even mocking others, unable to shake the confirmation bias of a deeply held belief in their own strength and invincibility. Dumas tells us to wait and hope. I hear, stay home, but don't give up. Or practice physical distance while staying connected in community. So while some play it cool, I see a lot more who have already decided they're going to do what they need to do to help others. Online, I see posts saying, Hey, we have a car. If you need us to get you something, please call. I hear of people making connection their new job, making a plan to call 3 people a day to check in on them. I imagine many of you are checking in with people who you know are losing work they depend on. I know you're giving help to the unhoused, the already struggling, and those who suffer even when things are normal. I know that some of us are struggling too. We're being reminded of all that is fragile, from our very human bodies to our finances and sometimes our relationships. In this time, while we don't know exactly what's ahead, I ask you to do your best to ground yourself in simple 2-word wisdom. Wait and hope. Stay grounded. Practice compassion for yourself and others. Don't be ashamed of your worries, but don't drown in them either. Take turns listening to each other. Aim your heart at kindness. Be forgiving. We're all in this together. Meanwhile, if something gives you hope, share it. Today, the daffodils Marcia Sandler planted near my house are blooming. I learned how to create a whole online service in only a few days, and so many people helped me do it. Thank you to Julie and Vaz and Teresa and Sean and Namali and all the others who gave permission to use their music and stories and poems and songs. To the ministers who've spent hours this week helping each other figure this thing out as we canceled services but knew we needed to offer something real to keep our people connected. In the waiting and in the hoping, I feel a lot of love. I feel it toward you. I feel it among you. And I feel it from you. All we can do right now is wait and hope. And that is wisdom. Wisdom that we share. That's for all of us, not just some of us. Even as we are physically separate, I feel your presence. We are a community. We are in this together. May it be so. May we be the ones that make it so. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be. Since it's the third Sunday, we don't want to forget about our community partner for our third Sunday offering. This month, that partner is Rogue Retreat. Rogue Retreat serves the homeless population in this county and beyond. They have many programs: Hope Village, the Kelly Shelter, Restart Retreats, housing retreats, shared recovery housing. They also teach others in the community about the unhoused and how they can serve and start shelters and do all sorts of things. So I want you to go to rogueretreat.com, and up in the right-hand corner you'll see a gold button with a heart that says donate. And you can make an online gift there. Or if you go to About Rogue Retreat, you'll find in some of the information their address, and you can write a check and send it along. They do great work. Their goal is to leave homelessness behind in our nation and beyond. So you can be part of that. Go to the website or write a check and send it to support them. They didn't know, none of us knew, how hard things would be right now. So I'm sure they can absolutely use your support. Thank you.
So that's the first key, right? Yeah. Let's go for it right away. Yeah, eventually I do.
God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept, yeah, the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. Serenity, courage, 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 wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change all I can, and the wisdom, yes, the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom to know the difference. God grant me serenity. Ooh, serenity. God grant me serenity. Serenity.
For our closing words, I wanted to give you a little preview from the upcoming book, Breaking and Blessing, which I wrote and is being published by Skinner House Press as the 2020 In Spirit Meditation Manual. This poem is called How to Survive the Apocalypse, and it seemed pretty timely. So even though it's not particularly cheerful, it does talk about how we're going to get through this together. How to survive the apocalypse. First, learn to listen, not only for enemies around corners and hidden places, but for the faint footsteps of hope and the whisper of resistance. Hone your skills, aim your heart toward kindness, and stockpile second chances. Under the weight of destruction, we will need the strong shelter of forgiveness and the deeper wells that give the sweet water of welcome. We have a place for you. When the world ends, we must not add destruction to destruction, not accept a beggar's bargain to fight death with more death. In order to survive, the apocalypse. Any apocalypse at all. We have to give up the counterfeit currency of self-sufficiency, the mistaken addiction to competition, the lie that the last to die has somehow survived. I bless you with wisdom as you hunker down and take care of yourself and the people that you love. We're doing this for each other. Amen. Ashe, and blessed be.